So Kim, I suppose now's the time when the Barra Bounty really starts to ramp up, or preparations for the Barra Bounty really start to ramp up. We're about 2 months out now.
Just about exactly, yeah.
We're full, which is probably become the norm over the last 3 years. For people who aren't from around our area here, I guess they wouldn't be familiar with the floods that we have in this area and what sort of effect they have on the river, I suppose is the best way to say it. It'd be hard for people to believe that in full flood we'd be probably 3 or 4 metres underwater standing right where we are here. So it's pretty remarkable.
Yeah,
a lot of water goes down.
I was just looking at the colour. July, we've got 2 months to go. It's a bit murky. We've got big tides at the moment, full moon tides, but I think by September it's going to be magic. Yeah.
Look, last year, the top end of the river, the fresh side of the river, was absolutely chock-a-block with fish. There was probably as many fish up there as I've ever heard of being caught, or been up there and fished myself. Probably more fish up there than I've ever seen up there.
Yep.
Maybe, just maybe, and I guess time will tell, but a lot of that fish that was up there have come down into this section of the river. So
I guarantee it.
A lot of those fish that were sort of 500 and 600 mil long 2 years ago, obviously, hopefully, we'll see them up in the sort of 700 and 800 range for this bounty. So maybe less small fish this year, and more big fish.
Oh, mate, I'm prepared to predict that we're going to see the largest number of big fish we've ever seen in the 13 years.
And from a competitor's point of view, that's just, that's exactly what you want to see. You want to be catching big fish, because obviously you're putting in the same amount of effort during the day to catch fish 300 long or 400 long. Why not catch them 800 long? So if they're all going to be 700 or 800, and that's going to be absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, so what sort of lures the guys going to... Because if you're catching big fish, you're going to have to change your lures. No use using little things this year.
Well, I think you can still use a little lure, but the thing that you've got to be mindful of, I suppose, that they can just destroy a lure. Barra 800 or 900 long could pull a lure apart just like that. So a lot of that stuff that comes out of China these days has got small hooks on it, small split rings. So you need to update all that sort of stuff. And I've seen, probably a luring trend change, if you like, over the last 3 or 4 years, where a lot more blokes are using soft plastics, and I think that's because they can put a heavier one hook rig into a soft plastic than what they can as far as trebles are concerned, and look, they're getting results, because the guys that are winning the bounty and winning a lot of events up and down the coast are using soft plastics. So.
Well, look, hey, I had a big barra on last year, at the end of last year, on a 6X treble, straightening it.
I think that a lot of that sort of developments come from the impoundment fishing, and we've seen incredible size fish coming out of the impoundments over the last probably 10 years. I know they've been a bit quiet over the last couple, but that's obviously just due to the floods, and that needs that whole system to settle down a little bit. I think the other thing to consider for our region here is the influence that maybe all of those fish coming out of a wonga has actually had on our fishery. We've had the 3 major rivers in our area in flood, the Fitzroy, the Calliope and the Boyne River, all in major flood over the last couple of years, and all of those fish that have come out of that system over the wall and into that area, Gladstone Harbour, Port Alma, and then making their way up into the river here, maybe. I don't really know whether there's too much research been into to show whether those fish come north or they come south, or in fact they go both ways.
Well, I think tag returns show they predominantly go south, but we've also got them going the other way. So and when you get big floods like we've just had, they go all directions. So you're right. There's no doubt we're going to have fish in here from Gladstone.
I hope I'll catch one of those.
Yeah.
I don't know how many fish came out of a wonga, but I'm sure there was literally thousands and thousands came out.
Very big number.
So for all those fish that have gone into the system over the last 3 or 4 years, it's probably anybody's guess how many are in the system and where they are.
Yeah. Well, let's have a bit of a prediction this year. I mean, 2 years ago was the best ever. We hit the 1,000 mark. Yep. Last year was the second best ever. We got, I forget, 700 thereabouts plus.
Yep.
What's it going to be this year? There's a lot of fish come out of here. The pros have taken over 100 tonnes this year.
I can probably only have a guess based on what I'm hearing over the last couple of months, and that's basically guys who are pre-fishing and people that are fishing the area. Not too much fishing's happened up in the freshwater side because the water clarity just hasn't been there yet, and that whole side of the river hasn't sort of settled down yet from that flood that we had earlier on. As you can see from the river at the moment, the tide is pushing in here, but that water's actually relatively clean. I know it looks a bit murky.
Yeah, but for the Fitzroy it's not bad.
Looks a bit grubby, but for the size tides we've had over the last couple of days and sort of 35 knots of wind, that's pretty good. And when you get down around that Port Alma area, the water is still quite clean down there. I guess in some respect it's changed the way people fish. If you go back a few years, and I know we keep harping about going back, but it's the only way you can describe the way change has come about. But if you have a look at some of the fishing magazines, everyone had 13 and 14 foot open tinnies 20 years ago, and that's what they fished in. By today's standards, and from the influence of the American bass circuits and places like that, and the developments in boats, I suppose, and we've got a very good boat builder right here in town,
that's right,
in Rifen Boats, who is one of the sponsors of the competition. All of these sort of things considered means that now we've got boats that go a lot faster, they're a lot bigger, and you can get to your fishing spots a lot quicker.
Actually, I was at Brent's place this morning, and he's built a boat that he's going to fish out of as a sponsor this year. It's red, so keep your eye out for the red Rifen rocket.
We won't miss it.
It's a nice looking piece of merchandise, so have a look for that one.
Look, I guess these boats have developed, and in that way people have changed their fishing styles. Years ago, a lot of people used to be live bait fishermen. They'd pull up at a snag somewhere, or they'd pull up at a rock bar, they'd chill out, they'd have a cup of coffee, they'd get their live bait in the morning, they'd hook him on, they'd throw him over, chill back, have a couple of drinks, have a bit of a chat, have a smoke and wait to catch a fish. These days, you've got electric motors, Minn Kotas and things like that people put on their boats. You've got sounders now which actually scan either side of the boat and all the way around the boat, so that you can actually go along a bank, you can actually scope out and see whether there's any fish there, if they're holding on a structure, in a hollow, sitting behind a little bank or something like that out of the run. You can see where they are, you can mark it, you can save it as a waypoint, and you can come back and actually fish where the fish are. You can actually drive past the snag, see if there's any in there. If there's none there, go to the next snag. Got to be a very, very useful
And
tool.
I wouldn't believe it unless I saw it. You can identify the fish.
Yeah.
I saw one where a bloke said, "Oh, there's a barra, there's a king." I went, "Get out."
Yeah.
And he showed me, and dead set, you can tell the shape that was a barra.
The detail that you're getting back off these fish, and we've done a fair bit of the sort of detail that you're getting back now and the resolution that you're getting on the screen means that you can actually distinguish the tail shape of the fish.
Yeah.
So threadfin, big fork tail, barramundi round tail, and you can see it quite distinctly.
Even the head, you can see on the bigger barra, you can see the
dip in their head.
Yeah. Oh,
Very, very distinctive.
amazing.
So that's it. Bigger, faster boats.
Have you been to 4X Island?
I have been to 4X Island, but not while it's been called 4X Island.
Yeah.
I've been there when it was a pumpkin. I've never been there while it was 4X
Yeah.
Island, but I'm looking forward to going.
Absolutely, our sponsors this year.
Indeed.
How's this all come together? We've got 4X on board this year, and the major prize that somebody's going to walk away with is a holiday on 4X Island. I mean, that's one of the best prizes we've ever had, I reckon.
I could probably handle that.
I'm going to carry the ports. Or the fishing rods.
I don't think I'll bother taking the port.
Bugger the ports, just
That's it.
take the fishing rods.
Take the tackle box. Now they've got their own boats over there and everything's supplied, so we need to take nothing.
Oh,
Trust
true.
ourselves.
And they've even got the dog, I believe.
Excellent. Now something else that we touched on a little bit earlier was soft plastics.
Yeah.
Now I'll tell you something that's changed a little bit in hard body design and hard body lures. The fact that they actually suspend in mid-water now is a really, really big thing. Jackal and Lucky Craft have been probably the innovators of this particular technique of making your lure actually suspend in mid-water. I know some guys that have mucked around with Richo lures and things like that and lethals over the years have tried to put heavier rings and heavy trebles and stuff like that on to make that lure sit down in the strike zone a little bit longer. And it's all about getting the lure to sit down where the fish are. Halcos and all these sort of things will go down to a certain depth. As soon as you take the pressure off the line, they float straight away. It's really good to get them to back out of structure, but when you're trying to get them to sit in front of a fish, it doesn't work as well. Lucky Craft have pretty much perfected this, and you can actually get a lure now where you cast it out, wind it down like that, and it'll sit. If they tell you it'll sit at 2 metres of water, that's exactly where it'll sit. So if you find a snag on your sounder, you're coming along, you see your snag sitting there, your snag's in 4 metres of water down there, you get a 3 metre suspending lure, pump him down there, and you've got it sitting about 1 metre just above the snag. Absolutely perfect. You can sit it there, and you can count to 10 and not move, and it just sits there.
Yep.
And it's been an absolute revolution as far as
And don't let anybody tell you that a barra won't hit a lure that's not moving.
Oh, absolutely.
They will. You just tweak it, pull it down, rip it down, and let it sit there. Hang on, mate. They'll grab it.
I think if you study barra in fish tanks and things like that, you'll see them come up to a bait fish like that. They'll come up really, really slow. Bait fish sees them coming, he scurries off real quickly like that. I think in a situation like that, the lure is sitting there like that. He's coming up to it. the lure doesn't know he's coming, so it's not going to scurry away. So it sits there. When he gets close enough, his next instinct is to just grab it.
Yes.
So a lot to be said for the suspending hard body lures, and I tell you what, they'll catch a lot of fish this year as well.
Totally agree with you. Hey Philly, since day one, that's 13, well, actually we've had a couple of washouts, but 14, 15 years ago when this thing first kicked off, from day one, when it was just a dream, we had platypus lines, that's Australian built lines, on board as our major sponsor.
Yep.
They've stayed with us for 13 years, they're on board again. This year, everybody's going to get a spool of platypus line. I mean, they're a terrific sponsor and it's a terrific line.
And I do believe they're going to come down and have a team in the competition this year as well, so that's fantastic. I think that's the first time for them.
Yes.
Look, they've been sponsors of major fishing tournaments all over the country for years and years and years, right back when there was no such thing as braided line. All there was mono line, and just about every fishing competition had a line class. So everybody had to fish 12-pound line, 10-pound line, 20-pound line, what it was. They've moved with the times and they've evolved, and now they make some of the best braided line that there is out there. And of course, most people that are lure fishing these days are using braided line. It just gives you so much more feel. You can move your lure so much more crisply, if you like, if that's the right way to describe it, but it makes all those little intricate movements of your lure a lot more possible than with that stretch of the mono line.
Yeah. I wouldn't use mono now. No, not for casting lures. It's totally braid.
And we were talking about upgrading your hooks before, and there's lots of different trebles and things that you can use, but Mustard are another company that's moved with the times, and there's a lot of new trebles and things on the market all the time, but Mustard have some of the best. And when you're looking to retrofit some of your Chinese-made lures, or even indeed your Japanese-made lures that come out, of course their fish that they catch over there are a lot smaller than ours and a lot less destructive on gear. You've got to put a heavier treble on your lure, and they make some of the best as well.
Well, here's good news for competitors. In their kit this year, every competitor is going to get the very latest Mustard trebles. They're going to get a pack of the very latest Mustard trebles.
Excellent. So a bit of a tip there for you. Make sure you've got your split ring pliers with you,
Yep.
because you're going to have to upgrade some of those lures.